Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. We are Group 4 and our team members are Yingju, Yixuan, and Noel. Today, we are here to analyze key economic indicators of Malaysia and Thailand between the years 2013 to 2022. The four charts we will be presenting indicate trends in inflation and unemployment rates and the structural contribution of the GDP of manufacturing and agriculture in both countries. Firstly, Thailand has a lower unemployment rate than Malaysia throughout the entire 2013 to 2022 period. As indicated by the graph, Malaysia's unemployment rate began at approximately 3.1% in 2013, whereas Thailand was much more lower at approximately 0.7%. This disparity was apparent throughout the years, with Malaysia's unemployment rate consistently being higher. Although the two nations witnessed fluctuations, Malaysia's unemployment rate had more apparent changes, whereas Thailand remained relatively stable. When we compare the trends between 2013 and 2019, Malaysia's unemployment rate stayed between 3 to 3.5%, with some marginal increases and decreases, but within this range. The unemployment rate of Thailand was far below that, with little to no variation and barely above 1%. This can be suggestive of the fact that Thailand's labor market was more stable, with less affecting factors towards the employment levels for these years. But in 2020, there was a clear divergence. Malaysia's unemployment rate started to increase sharply, rising from its prior range to a high of around 4.5% in 2021. That is a very large increase relative to the prior years, and it indicates a major impact on Malaysia's labor market. Thailand did see an increase, but a much more modest one. Its own unemployment rate hit a high of about 1.9% in 2021, which, though greater than in earlier years, remained far under Malaysia's. Compared to Thailand, Malaysia's unemployment rate has decreased more quickly after reaching a peak in 2021. The unemployment rate in Malaysia decreased in 2022, but was still above pre-pandemic levels. Thailand also experienced a decrease in the unemployment rate during the same time frame to about 1.2% in 2022, but the pace of decline was slower than Malaysia. By examining the overall trends, the unemployment rate in Thailand has been moving in a narrow range between approximately 0.5% to a high of 1.9% in 2021, and then falling back into stability once again in 2022. In Malaysia, the unemployment rate moved more wildly, first staying within 3 to 3.5% before spiking hard during the pandemic. This indicates that the Malaysian labor market was more susceptible to external economic disruptions, where Thailand remained relatively stable. Now I will pass it to Noel.
Thank you, Ingju, for explaining your part. My name is Hanoel. I will be exploring the economic growth of Malaysia and Thailand from the year 2013 to 2022, using the graph on the slide to guide you. From 2013 to 2022, we can see that Malaysia showcased a moderate economic growth with very few fluctuations. Starting at 4.7% in 2013, Malaysia experienced a high point of 6.0% in 2014, but saw some declines in the following years. The growth rate fluctuated around 4 to 5% until 2019, which was followed by a significant downturn in 2020 when the growth rate dropped to negative 5.5%, the lowest point during the period. However, Malaysia showcased a strong recovery in 2022, which has an impressive growth rate of 8.7%, the highest within the analyzed period. The overall average annual growth rate from 2013 to 2022 was 4.2%. Thailand's economic performance from 2013 to 2022 displayed modest growth with considerable fluctuations. Starting at 2.7% in 2013, Thailand experienced a significant drop to 1.0% in 2014. The following years saw moderate growth rates ranging from 3.1% to 4.2%. The lowest point occurred in 2020, with a sharp decline to negative 6.1%. Following this downturn, Thailand's recovery was gradual, reaching 2.6% in 2022. Over the entire period, the average annual growth rate was 1.9%. While comparing Malaysia and Thailand, it is evident that Malaysia exhibited higher and more dynamic economic growth compared to Thailand. Malaysia's annual growth rate was 4.2%, substantially higher than Thailand's 1.9%. Malaysia's highest growth rate was 8.7% in 2022, while Thailand's was 4.2% in both 2017 and 2018. Both countries faced their lowest points in 2020 due to a significant economic downturn, with Malaysia at negative 5.5% and Thailand at negative 6.1%. However, Malaysia demonstrated a more robust recovery, achieving a notable growth rate in 2022, whereas Thailand's recovery was more gradual. Next, I will be explaining the economic performance of Thailand and Malaysia in the agriculture, forestry, and fishing industry from 2015 to 2022. Starting with Thailand, Thailand started off strong with a high percentage of 8.9% in 2015. However, it experienced a gradual decline, reaching its lowest point at 8.1%. Despite this, Thailand still managed to bounce back, rebounding to 8.7% in 2020 and maintaining stability through 2021 and 2022, ending at 8.8%. Malaysia's path, on the other hand, had more ups and downs. In 2015, Malaysia started at 8.3% and reached its first peak at 8.6% in 2017. However, this was followed by a significant decline, with the lowest point in 2019 at 7.2%. Nevertheless, Malaysia made a great comeback, reaching a high point of 9.6% in 2021, before settling at 8.9% in 2022. While comparing the two countries, we observed several key differences. Thailand commenced the period with a high percentage of 8.9%, compared to Malaysia, which is at 8.3%. Both nations hit their lowest point in 2019, with Thailand at 8.1% and Malaysia at 7.2% due to challenges such as extreme weather, rising food prices, labor costs, and animal health issues. Thailand's highest point was at the beginning of the period in 2015, whereas Malaysia achieved significant peaks in 2017 at 8.6%, and an even higher peak in 2021 at 9.6%. In terms of stability, we can say Thailand demonstrated a more consistent trend with gradual declines and steady recovery, while Malaysia went through more dramatic changes with rapid ups and downs reaching notable high points. Thank you. I will pass it now to Yixian.
Thank you, Noel. My name is Dai Xuan. Now I will start my presentation part. The first part is total GDP by manufacturing of Malaysia and Thailand. Thailand consistently had a high contribution of manufacturing to GDP than Malaysia throughout the 2015 to 2022 period. To begin with, as indicated from the chart, Thailand's manufacturing started at approximately 28% in 2015, whereas Malaysia manufacturing GDP was lower at around 22%. This disparity evident throughout the years, demonstrating that Thailand's manufacturing sector is playing a more dominant role in its economy. Next, When comparing trends between 2015 and 2019, Thailand's manufacturing GDP remained relatively stable, hovering around 27% to 28% with only minor fluctuation. In contrast, Malaysia showed a gradual upward trend, is increasing slightly, but staying below Thailand's level. This suggests that while both countries maintaining a strong manufacturing basis, Malaysia was more gradual in its industrial growth compared to Thailand. However, in 2020, both nations witnessed a slight decline in manufacturing GDP, most likely due to the pandemic's economic impact. Thailand saw a dip, but fortunately quickly recovered in 2021, followed by slightly increase in 2022. On the other hand, Malaysia experienced steadier rise post-2020, catching up slightly, still remaining below Thailand's. This suggests that Thailand's manufacturing sector was more resilient and rebounding faster, while Malaysia was more recovering gradual. Last, compared to Thailand, Malaysia manufacturing GDP show more noticeable upward trends after the pandemics. Although both nations experienced growth in the manufacturing contribution, Thailand is maintaining the lead. Well, at the same time, Malaysia shows signs of narrowing the gaps. By examining the overall trends, it's clear that Thailand's manufacturing sector consistently contribute a larger share to GDP, whereas Malaysia will show a steady but slower growth. Ultimately, Thailand had more manufacturing intensive economy, while Malaysia was expanding the industrial base at a slower pace. Second part is Malaysia and Thailand's inflation rates. Thailand experienced a more volatile in inflation rates than Malaysia throughout the entire 2013 and 2022 periods. To begin with, both Malaysia and Thailand start with an inflation rate of around 2% in 2013. However, Malaysia inflation rates increased to approximately 4% in 2014, whereas Thailand's inflation rates declined and reaching the negative value in 2015. This disparity was apparent throughout the years, that Malaysia maintaining a more stable trend while Thailand saw more fluctuation. Next, when comparing the trend between 2013 and 2019, Malaysia inflation rate mostly stayed between 1% and 4% with moderate inflation. Meanwhile, Thailand experienced a sharper decline in 2015, dipping below negative 1% before gradually recovering. By 2018 and 2019, both countries experienced inflation rates were relatively close and showing the convergence. This suggests that Thailand's economy faced a greater deflationary in the mid-2010 compared to Malaysia. However, in 2020, both nations witnessed a significant drop in the inflation rates due to the global economic slowdown. With Malaysia and Thailand, both experienced near zero or negative value. A major divergence occurred after 2020. Both nations experienced a sharp inflationary increases. Notably, Thailand's inflation rate surged to around 6% in 2022, surpassing Malaysia's inflation rate, which also rose but at a slower pace. This suggests that Thailand faced more intense inflationary pressure in post-pandemic. Last, compared to Thailand, Malaysia's inflation rates increased at a more gradual pace after the pandemic stopped. While both nations saw rising inflation, Thailand's surge in 2022 was steeper, indicating a stronger economy rebound, but also higher price instability. By examining the overall trend, Malaysia inflation rates moved within relatively stable range before rising post-pandemic, whereas Thailand's show more volatile, including a period of deflationary followed by the rapid inflation. This suggests that Malaysia is more controlled in inflation environment, while Thailand's economy is more sensitive in the external stock. That's all my part. Thank you. Now move to Yingzhu.
As a conclusion, the data presented reflects significant economic patterns between Malaysia and Thailand in 2013 to 2022. The rate of unemployment in Malaysia has overall been higher than that of Thailand, with a significant increase in 2020. Inflation rates have fluctuated in both countries, climbing to a sharp peak towards 2022. Agriculture's contribution to GDP at the structural level has not really changed in both nations, except that Malaysia experienced slight changes before returning to recovery. In the manufacturing sector, Thailand continues to lead Malaysia in the percentage contribution to GDP in manufacturing, although overall stability in both nations prevails. These trends show a stark picture of Malaysian and Thai economic transformation over the past decade and offer valuable insight into the two nations' growth pattern. That is all for our presentation. Thank you.